3 Paremoremo guards, who normally look after the prisoners, were themselves in the dock today for the start of a trial at the High Court in Auckland. One is accused of kicking a prisoner repeatedly in the head, another is charged with breaking the prisoner's ankle, and a third is accused of moving a camera to try and ruin any investigation. Desmond Fa'afoe has denied a charge of injuring with intent. His colleague, Wiremu Paikia, denies causing grievous bodily harm when he broke the prisoner's ankle, and Viju Duvase denies attempting to pervert the course of justice. Our Auckland court reporter Edward Gay filed this report.
The Crown Prosecutor, David Wiseman, said the attack happened as prisoners were returning from the recreation room. The prisoners were being patted down when prisoner Trent Wellington attacked prison officer Desmond Fa'afoe. Prisoner Mitai Angel and Samuel Jr. Hutchins joined in.
Mr. Fa'afoe fell to the ground. Angel and Hutchins then stood over him and struck his head numerous times with shanks, which are improvised weapons made by prisoners, usually featuring a blade.
They repeatedly stabbed Mr. Fa'afoe about the head and neck. Backup arrived and the prisoners were restrained.
Now, once prisoner Angel had been taken to the ground, he was lying curled up on his side, surrounded by various corrections officers.
But Mr. Wiseman said despite Angel being restrained, the corrections officers used excessive force.
It is at this point the Crown alleges that the defendant, Mr. Fa'afoe, kicked prisoner Angel in the head 3 times.
Mr. Wiseman said corrections officer Viju Devasi was part of the group of officers who responded. He said Mr. Devasi's body camera captured part of the attack.
Crown says that the footage shows the defendant, Mr. Devasi, wearing blue gloves, trying to restrain Mr. Fa'afoe's leg in an attempt to stop him kicking Mr. Angel.
The recording also captured a voice.
Now you'll be able to hear on the footage the words Des, enough, 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 in response to the kicks, as well as the phrase camera, camera.
The footage also shows corrections officer Wiremu Paikia crouching over Angel's legs.
The defendant, Mr. Paikia, was applying excessive force to prisoner Angel's legs and ankle. By the time that Mr. Paikia leaves that position and another corrections officer takes over, see the prisoner Angel's ankle is bent at a right angle sideways.
Mr. Wiseman said Angel was left with a compound fracture to his ankle and leg. Corrections officer Viju Devasi had been one of the officers responding to the attack.
About a half minute later, Mr. Devasi goes up the stairs into the command room of Bravo Block, and the Crown says interferes with the camera that is recording the incident involving prisoner Angel.
Mr. Wiseman said Mr. Devasi pointed the camera towards a bit of clothing on the floor and away from the prisoners. He acknowledged the jurors may feel sympathy towards Mr. Fa'afoe, saying he worked in a very difficult and at times scary environment, but he urged them to put any feelings of sympathy to one side. Mr. Fa'afoe's lawyer, Todd Simmons, said his client never intended to injure Angel.
Multiple blows to his head, stab wounds, cuts, abrasions, bleeding, and the effect that that had on him, the defence say, and his ability to think straight, to appreciate what he was doing at that point in time. That's the defence. He may have lashed out, you'll see that on the footage, but did he have that specific intent?
Mr. Paikia's lawyer, Aaron Perkins QC, said his client was wrestling with Angel's legs.
In a nutshell, Paikia, my client, was simply doing his job in very difficult circumstances to the best of his ability.
Mr. Devasi's lawyer, Paul Borich QC, said his client had been attacked by prisoners the year before. He said the attack left an impression on his client, and he read extracts from his client's interview with the police.
It's all panic and rush at that time. To be honest with me, from what I'm saying right now, it's like, for me, just seeing Des, that was enough. Because it sort of bring back whole heaps of flashbacks for me, like I was just seeing myself.
He said his client moved the camera to check to see if there were other prisoners around. It was not to pervert the course of justice. The trial before Justice Gordon and a jury has been set down for 3 weeks. Mo te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Edward Gay ahau.